I got something juicy for y'all today. Alright, hear me out. There was this alleged behind the scenes drama that had the internet absolutely feral, and whether it was 100% real or just spicy fanfiction level gossip, it lived rent-free in everyone's head for so long. Word on the street, Jack Black, of all people, supposedly had a little heart-to-heart that turned into a wake-up call with Rachel Zegler during one of the Snow White press events. And when I say chat, I don't mean a little cute convo over coffee. I mean the vibes were giving gentle intervention with a side of concerned dad energy. The Whisperer said he asked her something brutally honest like, "Are you really helping your case by calling everyone who disagrees with you a troll?" Which, let's be honest, feels very on brand for Jack Black. Dude's been in the game longer than most of Gen Z has even been alive. He knows how to handle fame without picking Twitter fights like it's a gladiator match. Jack lives off of chaotic good energy, not Twitter clapbacks and main character syndrome. Now again, I'm not saying this definitely happened, but the idea of Jack Black just casually reality checking Zegler mid-press tour is so specific, it might as well be canon. It just fits. You've got this beloved chaos gremlin of a man who's been winning over fans since School of Rock, staring down someone who's trying to rebrand a fairy tale by subtweeting the entire internet. And Rachel? Girl, according to rumors, either totally crumbled or hit the eject button and stormed out. Either way, she was allegedly shook. Like, imagine trying to play the "I'm misunderstood" artist card and then Jack Black just claps back. Her social media actively tanked like fast. The press tour ghosted. She went from acting like the main character to nowhere in sight, leaving fans wondering if she got an invite to a reality check party and decided to ghost it. Disney apparently went full Big Brother on Rachel Zegler's public life, like they hired a whole squad of social media experts to vet her posts before she even touched a keyboard. Like she went from free spirit to, sorry, can't post that without approval. They really clamped down hard, trying to make sure nothing else came out of her mouth or social feed that could turn into another PR disaster. It wouldn't be shocking if she really did get fired by Disney though, since she basically nuked her own career trying to reinvent Snow White like it was some feminist TED talk no one asked for.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
This girl walked onto the Disney lot, looked at the 1937 classic that generations grew up loving, and went, "Yeah, nah, this whole thing's trash, let me fix it." She straight up clowned the prince like he was a random Tinder match who ghosted her, and made it loud and clear she wanted no part of the OG fairy tale vibes. She tried to pitch the new version as this badass, independent queen narrative, but forgot Disney adults and nostalgia core Twitter don't play. Like, yeah, let's modernize Snow White, cool, but acting like the original some cursed relic from the prehistoric misogyny zone just made her look pretentious as hell. Not empowering, just annoying.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
Meanwhile, actresses like Halle Bailey or Emma Watson played it smart, strategic. Halle, grace under pressure level 100. When trolls cried out of the swamp to hate her on her Ariel casting, she clapped back with nothing but love for the character, the fans, and the ocean.
There's so many beautiful qualities about her that we know and love already in the original. Her curiosity, her passion, her headstrongness, you know, her ability to not take no for an answer. I wanted to keep all those things as well as add some of me to it, especially like some of the nuances and riffs in the songs and just my personality as well. So I hope that shines through in this version.
Emma Watson definitely made a lot of changes to her version of Belle, but it still felt like she respected the character.
It's so much about the human condition and what it is to be alive, what it is to give and receive love, what it is to see deeper than the external and the superficial. And I think in that sense, it's kind of one of the most soulful Disney movies I can think of.
The contrast made her stand out, but not in the way she wanted. Her situation got pretty messy after she posted a pro-Palestinian tweet right after unveiling the Snow White trailer at Disney's D23 event in 2024. Disney was taken by surprise, especially since it came right after such a big moment for her. Word is, they pulled her into a meeting with producer Mark Platt, and she struck to her guns, refusing to take it down. That's where things got really complicated. There was fallout, including threats aimed at her co-star Gal Gadot, and Disney wasn't happy about the extra security costs and all the tension.
I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me threats.
Behind the scenes, insiders claim Rachel's actions during the promo tour also rubbed people the wrong way, with efforts saying her behavior came off as erratic and immature. That's a big deal when your film's already facing box office challenges, and Disney reportedly needed someone to point fingers to when the $270 million production didn't hit expectations. Unfortunately, it looks like Rachel ended up being the focal point of that narrative. Yeah, the movie was a complete disaster. They allegedly had to do last-minute reshoots, which is never a good sign, especially when test screenings went so poorly they were scrambling to patch things up. And then the box office, don't even get me started. The thing only barely scraped together $160 million in 3 weeks. That's a disaster, especially when you consider that Disney had all the odds in its favor. We're taking a legendary fairy tale, a massive budget, and expectations through the roof. Minecraft of all things ended up with a $300 million opening weekend, and it didn't have that billion-dollar nostalgia backing it up. Minecraft's the game you play to avoid life, not something you expect to be culturally significant, but somehow it outperformed Snow White hard. Yeah, a movie about a blot game where the plot is literally do whatever did way better, and that's because it didn't try to be deep, it didn't lecture, it didn't show up in a suit trying to pitch Minecraft but elevated. Nah, it just ran full speed into the chaos with a diamond sword in one hand and a chicken in the other. 90 minutes of pure blocking insanity. Creepers blowing up for no reason, kids screaming in theaters just like Redstone engineers, and not a single moment wasted trying to be cinema.
The Minecraft movie made $301 million in its opening weekend, but how much money did it cost to make? So, of course, with Minecraft selling over 300 million copies of the game worldwide, film studios were wanting to gamble on making a film, but the budget would hit them hard.
It knew it was stupid, and that's what made it genius. While every other game adaptation was out here chasing awards like insecure theater kids, Minecraft just gave the people what they wanted. Vibes. Pure, pixelated, dopamine-filled vibes. No trauma arcs, no ham-fisted metaphors, just Endermen teleporting mid-fight and characters making dirt houses in serious moments. It was dumb, it was beautiful. People weren't just upset about Rachel's commentary, they felt disrespected. And of course, the whole thing snowballed into something even uglier. Zegler being cast as a Latina in a traditionally white role already had people on the internet clutching their pearls, and this whole reimagining thing just fueled the fire. Most people were just spewing racist garbage because, well, it's the internet. Yikes. The backlash got amplified to the point where Zegler was public enemy #1, and suddenly she was getting roasted from every angle.
So I want to begin with the one that surprised me the most, which is Snow White, because apparently they're going to make a live-action remake of this, which will be played by Latina actress Rachel Zegler. She has her pronouns in her bio, she's obsessed with identity politics and calling anything that moves homophobic, transphobic. So yeah, she's a big fan of this woke virtue signaling, so of course they cast her, she's perfect. And this surprised me because it's Snow White, whose skin was described as white as snow. I don't know what they're going to call Snow White. Is it still going to be Snow White? Because I understand with The Little Mermaid, you know, a lot of these woke people said, yeah, but it's a mermaid, like her skin is not an important part of her character. Well, what would you say with Snow White? Because she is specifically, you know, described as having very white skin.
It wasn't just the film itself falling apart. Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot? Apparently not exactly the besties we all thought they might be. Word on the street is the two were not vibing at all during and after filming. It wasn't just about the script or the acting, it was about their very different takes on politics, which got messy real fast.
Rachel Zegler just had one of the most disliked trailers in history with Snow White, but now after all the controversy, she's come out slamming Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler first met doing the movie Shazam 2 together, which was a massive flop, making only $134 million in a budget of $125 million, meaning it had $150 million in losses. Then after that, it was announced they'd be starring in Snow White, which got a lot of controversy because Snow White is set in Germany while Rachel Zegler is half Colombian and Gal Gadot is Israeli. On top of that, Rachel Zegler isn't the best PR person, where she revealed she only watched the original movie once as a kid and also thought the prince was a creep. She said they changed the story where Andrew Burnham, who's playing the leading male role, won't be a prince anymore, won't be the hero, and she also said he might get cut from the entire movie. Because of that, the teaser trailer was one of the most disliked things in history, where 96% of people put thumbs down. On top of that, there is a boycott for the Snow White movie because Gal Gadot's in it, who is a former member of the Israeli army. Because of that, right after the trailer was released, Rachel Zegler went to Twitter and Instagram to say Free Palestine. Rachel Zegler has never taken a stance on Israel-Palestine before, but seems like she was just trying to do this to throw Gal Gadot under the bus.
Look, Zegler went hard with her pro-Palestinian stance, making her views crystal clear online, and it caused major ripples in Hollywood. Now, Gadot, being Israeli, obviously has her own perspective on the Israel-Palestine conflict, and let's just say they were not exactly on the same page. I mean, it was basically like mixing oil and water at that point. They were both professionals, sure, but the tension was palpable as the release date got closer. Like, how do you even pretend to be friendly when your entire worldviews are this different? And then there's this little spicy moment where Zegler dropped a professional pageant queen comment about Gadot on Instagram. People read that as a total jab, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if there was some serious side-eyeing happening behind closed doors. It was a low-key dig, but everyone knows the internet doesn't miss anything, and that one blew up into full-blown speculation. Was she throwing shade? Was it just a joke? Who knows? But it definitely added to the weird tense vibe surrounding the Snow White promo. To top it all off, the movie itself was already in hot water because of Zegler's earlier comments and the backlash that came with it. The whole cast was probably just sitting there waiting for the world to implode, and you know, as the movie got closer to its release, it was like watching a dumpster fire slowly get worse. These tensions, not exactly helping the situation. It was like an awkward family dinner where everyone's holding their breath and nobody's sure if the next word will set someone off.